Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back with another recording of Hearthstone. Today is Monday, January 7th. So, for the past week or so, we've been doing like 2-3 hour single episode streams. I remembered the reason why I don't do that. It's because I want to maximize the number of times in which I might be able to take a break, whether I have to go to the bathroom or something else happens. So we're going to go back to closer to an hour streams. I also scheduled some Hearthstone. We need to play as the Warlock, and that's pretty much it. And I've got Hearthstone videos scheduled up to April and more to schedule still, probably for another 3 months after April. But that isn't a year in advance with Hearthstone. And if the only time slot that I can maintain and get really far ahead is going to be Hearthstone, then I guess I just want to continue to do that. That way my channel doesn't completely, totally die. If I disappeared for 6 months, it would only mostly die. So most of the weekend I didn't do a lot, but I did start earlier today playing Minecraft Stoneblock 2, which, for Feed the Beast having its own launcher, which is now owned, I think, Feed the Beast, at least Curse is owned by Twitch, which is owned by Amazon, and so now the Feed the Beast mods for Minecraft Java Edition are in the Twitch launcher, which I've gotten lots of games for free because I have Twitch Prime on the Twitch launcher, but I've never even installed that thing. So I finally now have the Twitch launcher installed, but it didn't work. It's like the default settings wants about 3 gigs of RAM for Stoneblock 2. I tripled it up to 9 gigs. And it's been since July 2016 that was the last time I played Minecraft. This is the first time I've ever done Minecraft modded. And while it's true that there's never probably been a better time to get into Minecraft modded, it's still kind of rough. In all honesty, it's still pretty rough. In Stoneblock, when you accomplish a goal, it gives you these random rewards. If your inventory is full, those rewards disappear. If you break a chest and there's a bunch of items on the floor, I managed to get those items to disappear in a shockingly short amount of time, and so I lost several items too that way. Stoneblock is the newest iteration of Skyblock. The difference is, instead of being in Sky, you're in a world that is almost 100% solid stone and nothing else. I think there might be a little bit at the top and maybe bedrock at the bottom, but maybe not even that. And the problem with Skyblock in the past, because even though I haven't played Hearthstone since July 2016, I've been watching other people play Hearthstone, and I've enjoyed it kind of from that outside perspective. But the thing that a lot of these modded paths go down is you start off having to create a sieve and sieve stone, or hammer stone down to gravel, and then sieve gravel, or hammer gravel down to sand, and then sieve sand, or hammer sand down to dust and sieve dust. And it's just a really long process of doing that, and Stoneblock 2 is probably sped that up as much as any of the others, but it's still pretty slow. And the thing is, I have an auto sieve. I've created it. The quests pointed me in that direction. And that's where the quests can be really helpful, is if they do just point the player into the direction that they should be going. But it's still really not good enough. Divine Shield, I guess.
Free me. Job done.
So there's a lot of things in modded that I've seen other people do, but I don't understand it. I haven't paid enough attention to play it. Simple things like my latest mistake was just finding bone meal. Like, I thought I had to make a mob grinder, but then I tried to make a mob grinder and the mobs are too strong for me, and so they're killing me. And in fact, I also went into the menu and then was taking a break, and I looked up on the screen, and there's a zombie attacking me with the game pause, and mob griefing was turned on. So a creeper exploded and blew up a couple of bricks, which sucks, and that's not something I would want on ever. And like, all of that was kind of unnecessary, it turned out, because all I should have been doing is just sieving dust, and I've been kind of intentionally ignoring the sieving of dust. You're in this weird position where I'm like 4 or 5 hours into it, and most of what I've done is just I've created a pickaxe, and I'm pickaxing a lot of things, a lot of stone. I'm supposed to, I suppose, craft a stairs upwards to the top level. In Stone Block 1, the top level of the world was full of lava. In Stone Block 2, it seems to lead to a mining dimension, where you can get other kinds of ores, but that sounds very boring to me, quite frankly. And see, I don't know how far I'm gonna really get on this, because I'm running into problems where there's a lot of work it's requiring before it gets into the interesting and fun stuff. And I think a lot of that probably also comes down to a lack of understanding the items that are available and how they work. Like, I have really no understanding of any of it, so, and the game's not really telling me. So it tells me to make a smeltery. I've seen people do that. I can look it up online, and that's what I did. But it won't activate, I don't think, until I can make lava. And I wasn't supposed to do it when I did it, so I did it out of order. Which, that sucks, because I'll probably have to break everything, break all the pieces down, and start again. In Stone Block 2, they changed the end dragon to a end chicken, and they changed the modded add-on Chaos Dragon to a Chaos Chicken, which I don't know how far I'm gonna get here. Honestly, I may just play it for a while and go, okay, I've had enough. This is my foray back into Minecraft. It is not the latest version of Minecraft, so it's missing a couple of the new things like scaffolding, but it has observers, and I was thinking I would do a generic mob farm where using observers and pistons and dispensers, if I can. I've seen other people build that. But also, I'm like super ambitious, and I don't know how long that ambition is gonna last. This is really a crazy thing to be doing, quite frankly. There's so many other games I have to play, But also I was thinking, you know, in 2019, if we're gonna get back to the old way I ran my channel, if we're gonna get back to the fun, if I want to play something, I should just play it. Like, I'm not gonna fall into being a Minecraft streamer ever, so that's not the big a big worry. It's just kind of a time management thing that's unfortunate. Let's see. Just keep on taking stealth until next turn.
How long can this go on? How long can this
Just go ahead and kill this. And keep on playing. The last thing I believe I did was the code. And I did cover
Arena's full. Beat it.
Captive Minecraft, I believe it was the name of that series, and there hasn't been a new Captive Minecraft in a long time. I think they played out their idea. In a lot of ways, Skyblock and Stoneblock are just Captive Minecraft with mods installed, and there used to be, and I would argue there probably still is kind of a good reason why there's a difference between modded Minecraft and not modded Minecraft. It's just hard to install the mods, but it's also hard to install the world files sometimes of non-modded Minecraft levels. I haven't seen anything like the code. I don't think there will be any more amazing puzzle things. I've been watching lots of Minecraft players and map makers, and most of them have either gone on to do something else or they've completely given up. I know a specific group straight up took what they were doing in Minecraft and then just made their own game outside of Minecraft, because I think their licenses might have changed, but that was a long time ago that there was an issue like around that, so I don't think that's the real reason. Probably just a basic reason of Minecraft Java version in particular has not been focused on, and probably won't ever be focused on again, in favor of the non-Java version. And in all honesty, I wouldn't give a kid today's the Java version of Minecraft. I would give them the everybody plays together version first, and then if they want to get into modded, I'd buy them the Java version. Alright, 10 more cards and we're done. We'll just ride this win streak. Because I'm kind of like hyped to play Minecraft 2, I want to kind of finish early so I can hop back into it. So far in this stream, in the recording, I haven't like skipped any of the mining, and I think that's part of the trickery of watching it on YouTube in particular is a lot of people cut out all the grinding, or you know, they cheat. I think a lot of them cheat. I think they say, okay, I'm gonna grind dust or sieve dust for the next 3 hours and then I'll be back tomorrow, or they don't give a specific time, but I wouldn't be surprised if what they really do is they just go into creative mode and give themselves the items. Honestly, if I was a full-time Minecraft player, I would do that. I would cheat all the time, because there's no value in playing legitimately, particularly if nobody's watching. Let's see. There's one Minecraft streamer called iJevin, and I don't want to be mean about it, but I've been watching his coverage, and I'm desperate to watch his coverage, but his coverage is awful. It was awful when I stopped watching him in, I think probably in 2016. He does the exact same thing every single episode. Now maybe this is the pot calling the kettle black. Maybe I do the exact same thing every episode. I wouldn't be surprised if that's it, but he has it all scheduled. He has let's do a question of the day for the first minute. Let's plug our channel, get you to subscribe. Yeah, he never responds to the questions of the days. So it's just trickery to get people to post comments in the comment section is all it is. Like he'll go just barely cough and then go, excuse me, sorry, and then half the time he'll, in almost half of his streams, he'll go, boy, I had waffles for breakfast, or I just drank a milkshake. So he has like a script where he's trying to be natural, I think, if I was to guess, and it just comes off very not natural. Let's see, this, and that in the turn. And at least until he got his newest microphone, he always sounded extremely nasally in his microphone. It was just way too nasally. Now I don't even know how you fix that though. That's kind of, if you sound nasally, that's pretty much just the person. I don't know how you can manipulate the audio to change that. At best, I would guess you could turn down the person. Also, yeah, as I'm recording this Minecraft, like, the music barely ever plays in Minecraft. So you're just sitting there in quietness, and it seems really odd. Just very odd. Anyways, because I want to rush through all this, let's just start rushing through all this. Over the weekend, there was a decent amount of games that came out, and a selection of news, certainly, but not a ton. So we have a game on Steam called The Eternal Castle Remastered. This looks like a CGA game, and it's being published by PlaySource. I guess this might be an old game, 1987. This one I have never heard of, but I'll put it on the fall list because it seems like it might be historically significant. Also, there's a decent number of people who have rated it very positively. That being said, this also might just be a really old game, thus, generally speaking, a really bad game. Right. This, and then this, and then this, and in the turn, next we have a game on Steam called Memorize Creation. I hope the webpeak is working. It should. I tested it. This looks like just kind of a low effort game. I'm not even gonna bother to say asset flip in this case. Low effort game, discounted to 89 cents. I'm not gonna make it to the list. I imagine we're in this position where CES is happening. CES is happening this week. It doesn't really have too much to do with video games, but there's very possibly going to be some announcements on some augmented reality or virtual reality style items. Let's see. Vaporize. Ice barrier.
Your soul is mine. Your soul is mine.
Play that. I still want to win, so I'm gonna want to be very careful. We have a game on Steam called Ingram, which looks like it might be a musical-based, almost Clax style game. It doesn't look good though, unfortunately. Yeah, with CES happening and it being so close to the beginning of the year, I'm not really expecting too much as far as major game announcements for a while, like February, generally speaking. Gamer Sutra has an article talking about the Half-Life 2 and Portal writer Eric Wolpaw. It's been updated. We've already kind of talked about it, but the update is, in a statement given to Polygon, Wolpaw clarified that he's working with Valve on a contractual basis, where his duties involve assisting writers Jay Pinkerton, Steve Jaros, Jaros, and Sean Vanneman in their respective projects. Which, the implication there is he's not permanently back. Which is, I think, accurate. Oh man, I could have played that differently. What did Whatever. There goes my win streak. Let's see. The quote is, I've been helping Pinkerton and Wyros and Vanneman whenever they needed it, so Wolpaw said in an email. Another quote here is, it's been busier on the front lately, but I'm not currently a full-time employee. My main gig is still delivering juice from my niece Jody's vegan juice shop, plus an unpaid internship playing Slay the Spire 3 hours a day. So, yeah, I don't know what kind of position you're in. You're in Washington State, probably Redmond, Washington. That's where I think Valve is situated. You're delivering juice for a juice shop, which is probably failing miserably. But you were working for Valve, and does Valve just not pay its employees, like its writers? Wow, I mean, is all the money that comes from Valve sales just going straight into Gabe Newell's hands, pockets? Like, I don't know. It seems so weird. It kind of feels like the guy is severely mentally disabled or physically disabled, and maybe he can't work full time. Or maybe he's just super rich and he doesn't want to. Either one of those, I guess, can be the accurate case. And we'll just stick with Zoo Warlock, since Zoo Warlock has a pretty high win ratio. Eric Wolpaw wrote Half-Life 2 and Portal. Yeah. So, I don't know, unless something happened. We're not getting a full story here. The question I guess we can do here is, well, let's do some journalism, actually. And let's look at Jay Pinkerton and see what he works on there. He co-wrote with Eric Wolpaw the story of the Valve's Corporation video game Portal 2. He was a former editor at Crack.com. I think Crack.com went out of business and a new person bought it. Let's see. There's not anything here. Like, according to this, J. Pinkerton came back to work for Valve in July. It really does feel like there was just a mass walkout at Valve. Somebody did not work well with others, and there seems to be a demand to remove that person. So the question is, who is the person that caused all the writers to leave? Steve Jaros, on the other hand, is he doesn't even have a Wikipedia article. Apparently he worked, Steve Jaros, J-A-R-O-S, Jaros or Jaros, worked on the Saints Row series of games, Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered Edition also. That wasn't for Valve. Saints Row 4, Saints Row Gat Out of Hell, Red Faction Guerrilla, and he was also a professional bowler. Interesting, so he does actually come... That is the same person. So unless Valve is publishing a new Saints Row game, which that would never happen.
Nice to meet you.
I guess there's no real information there. Now Steve Vanneman, on the other hand, and see, I figured it was going to be one of these, is the writer. He was the co-project leader and lead writer on The Walking Dead, Telltale game, and Puzzle Agent 2. He also wrote the 3rd episode of Tales of Monkey Island, and he was the designer of Wallace and Gromit's Adventure. Let's see, he was one of the regular hosts on the Idle Thumbs podcast and one of the co-founders of Campo Santo, the company that produced Firewatch. So he is the guy that threatened to DMCA PewDiePie. No real confirmation that that was actually acted on.
Job's done.
So, honestly, Sean Vanneman would be the one person that I would like to see out of Valve. I heavily suspect that Sean Vanneman, that is the rogue employee inside of Valve, if it is a single rogue employee. So, if Sean Vanneman, though, to ignore the controversy he caused upon himself for no reason, worked on point-and-click adventure games for Telltale, is Valve making a point-and-click adventure game? I doubt it. So what are these 3 people writing? Like, I don't think Vanneman, as his back history, would make him work well as making puzzles for Portal 3. That'd be a hard transition, like 3D platforming puzzles versus 2D object point-and-click puzzles. But if he's just writing the story, I guess that would still work. Because story is story in general.
I should meet you.
Let's see. I'll just keep on playing, I guess. So yeah, there's like three writers, and the only thing that you could legitimately believe is it is either they're writing for Portal 3, which would be amazing, assuming it's good, assuming Valve can make good games still, or they're writing for something completely different and completely new. And I don't know how you get to that point with Valve. Like, I don't know how they could do something new, particularly since they've just released Artifact, and we know for the most part that there's no writing happening in Artifact or Dota or anything like that. There should perhaps be some Dota writing happening. Bring those Dota characters to some single player Telltale style game. That might be interesting, or even a cartoon just on TV. So no real information there other than the slight update. I really stretched that whole conversation when really all we know is that Eric Wolpaw is only working on a contractual basis, which, that being the most recent bit of information, points to the idea that these writers are not really doing anything with it at all. They're just probably wasting Valve's money. Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Fragile Equilibrium. It's a side-scroller shoot-'em-up game. It looks pretty decent, actually. Unfortunately, it's not my style of game. It's free, so that's a nice price, too. It looks like a fine side-scrolling shoot-'em-up game. Yeah, I just don't play shoot-'em-ups.
So many possibilities.
Let's see.
Sure, send the next guy.
There we go. Next, we have a game on Steam called Abandonment, which is a low-effort horror hallway dungeon crawler asset flip game, whatever you want to call it. It's $2.99, no discount, and you can just see by the bland repeated textures this is not a game that's going to go anywhere. It's not visually appealing. Speaking of visually appealing, I haven't done the research yet, but it seems like another Unreal version, a remake of the playable teaser PT has been released. So I need to do the research and download that again. It seems like this newest version, they said they specifically made it so that getting the ending is a little bit easier, but and consistent, which is nice. But why even bother playing PT these days? That demo. I know that there's been a couple of people that have tried to make games in a similar vein, and they tried to Kickstarter it, and really nothing happened there. But nobody has really succeeded and taken that idea and turned it into a game. which is crazy, but it also makes sense. Like, that demo itself probably cost millions of dollars and a lot longer than is realistically a serious amount of money that you would spend on the demo if it wasn't for the fact that Konami, I think, in this case, had that money or to spare. That would have never gotten, and it would have never looked that realistic. And without the realistic graphics, it wouldn't have been as amazing as it is. So I've played on my channel a Minecraft version of the PT demo. I believe I played a Unreal version of the PT demo. So a new Unreal version probably isn't going to change anything. It's been a long time since that demo's come out. Now we should just move forward, maybe get a little hype for Death Stranding instead. It will be surprising, I suppose, if Death Stranding does not have the same level of impact and realism as that demo does. Moving on, Gamma Sutra has an article. The CFO, Amrita Ahuja, parts ways with Blizzard to join up with a mobile payment company. I think we talked about this article before too, but I don't think we got the part where she is now working for a mobile payment company. So the good news is, at least in the past week or so, since everything has been shut down for the new year, there hasn't been any more bad news for Activision Blizzard. But that's about all you can say, is there hasn't been any more bad news. And I imagine we might have another high profile person jump ship. Meanwhile, Ben Brode, the main guy in charge of Hearthstone, it seemed like, or they certainly made it seem like that was the case, he jumped ship, and his new company, Second Dinner, secured financing for like $90 million, I believe, and he's making some kind of Marvel game. So if this is a Marvel collectible card game and it's good, that might be the point where we jump ship. That might be the end of Hearthstone for me. Or maybe we'll have a more metered tapering off. We might do Hearthstone on Mondays, and then Marvel on Wednesdays, and then Hearthstone on Fridays, and then switch it around the next week, so it's the opposite. I could do that certainly if I just abandoned the Asian and European accounts. We could certainly get things to line up in that fashion. Alright, deal 2 damage. I want this guy going. And then I want this blade and this blade.
Your soul is mine. Job done.
And then in the turn. So yeah, if it is a Marvel collectible card game, I think I'll definitely try it day one. That's the one thing. In all fairness, even if somebody had made a DC collectible card game, I probably wouldn't jump ship for that. But a Marvel one, I can see the logic there. Marvel's a lot more colorful. If you did DC, you'd just have 50 different versions of Batman. And Ben Brode is also a big factor in that. If it seems like he was the one making Hearthstone a good card game, and as soon as he left, Hearthstone started doing some different things that I'm not sure I 100% agree with. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article, and this one is certainly a title I never thought I would see ported over to the Switch. The PC game, or at least previously, I think it was a PC only game. It might have been on PS4, but I doubt it would be allowed on PS4 now. The game Panty Party, P-A-N-T-Y, space P-A-R-T-Y, you know, is coming to the Switch this spring. Now, the game itself is, we could just show it off, I think, just fine. Because it's kind of this funny shooter game where you're playing as girls' underwear, and there are sentient girls' underwear that are just flying around by themselves, and that is kind of all there is to it. Do this. So we can come over here and we can show it off a little bit. There's sexual context, memes, and funny in anime, according to the tag. I did want to get these at some point and get this game and play it. This is probably a lot like Honey Pop, although in the sense Honey Pop actually did have nudity if you put the nudity patch in it. I bet this is even more closer to the family-friendly version of the range. It says warning: no hentai content in this game. All you get is funny and stupid panties. So that might have been why this would have come to the Switch. But I don't know. Like, it's slightly confusing. That being said, Nintendo's new president is kind of doing things different, and in a recent interview he said that Nintendo might leave the console market completely. I'm gonna lose. Darn it. Well, yeah, he said that Nintendo might leave the console market for smartphone games instead. So who knows where Nintendo is going? It would be interesting to see them do more smartphone games, but that would bring up mobile game quality, certainly. Let's play Tempo Mage instead. But also, if Nintendo leaves the console realm, then they really would have to start releasing their games on other consoles or PC. Because if they just 100% only made cell phone games, oh boy, would that suck. Never get another Mario game, never get another Metroid game, never get another Zelda game except for on a cell phone. That would be a nightmare scenario. Yeah, that would be terrible. So hopefully it doesn't go down like that. Moving on, TechRaptor has an article. What Remains of Edith Finch is free on the Epic Games Store starting January 10th. I'm gonna have to ask myself this question because I don't think anybody else is gonna ask themselves this question. At what point do I stop reporting on free games on the Epic Games Store? I don't like the exclusivity on the Epic Games Store. I don't 100% believe that the Epic Games Store is going to succeed as a competitor to Steam. I don't report on Amazon Prime games that are new, generally speaking. So this is probably going to rather quickly become not news. Let's see. Well, I can do this, I guess. Let's see. Moving on. Next, we have a game on Steam called RepairBot. Looks like it's a space game. It says it's a puzzle game. Little dark screenshot syndrome here. I'll be generous and put this on the fall list though. Like, because I'm having trouble seeing how this plays. Actually, we could just watch this. I'm not sure. This could be really simplistic, or this could be good. It's probably really simplistic, and probably really short. But I'll leave Repair Pot on the fall list. I do need to make the decision about when I am going to replace the fall list or clean up the fall list again. If I could get it at the end of March or the end of April, that would be great. I don't want to really have to do it every single month, because that's just then another thing that takes up time. There's a decent chance I will not do it until a sale happens. So the potential Chinese New Year, Year of the Pig sale is going to happen. Let's see, why do I have this page open? The Mortal Kombat Collective returns with Mortal Kombat 11. Seems like that's a bundle of Mortal Kombat games. There's a Hitman HD Enhanced Collection coming out January 11, 2019. That includes Hitman Resolution and I think Hitman Blood Money. So that, I think, still is the first 3 Hitman games not included there. Let's see. Let's hit this. I think that's probably why this is open, is the Hitman collection. I hope I get free updates to those Hitman games, because those Hitman games I don't think run particularly well on PC. Although I think I've already covered Hitman Absolution. Let's do this. And do this. Do this. And that. Particularly Mortal Kombat is a weird game to try and to make a collection on. It just does not make a lot of sense. Let's see, there's a Batman Arkham collection also on the Xbox One. And the Lego Movie 2 video game. I don't know if that one's out yet. So yeah, a little bit there. I'm still having weird sleep cycles where I'm mostly staying up for like 6 hours, then sleeping, then staying awake for another 6 hours, then sleeping again. Keep on just casting spells. Gematsu has an article. The Natsuki Chronicles have been delayed to an unannounced release window in Japan. It's no longer planned for 2018, as you might have noticed. I'm not sure what the Natsuki Chronicles are. Natsuki. Like, I haven't heard of this one, but apparently it's a shoot 'em up for Xbox One. So probably not super a big loss there. Let's see, Gamatsu has another article. Mobile Suit Gundam, Iron Blood, and Orphan smartphone app spin-off announced. So another cell phone game coming out. I don't think there's too much of a big loss there if that just stayed in Japan. I don't know how you could ingest Mobile Suit Gundam. There's so much of it as far as anime and movies and everything. Playing games and having more expanded universe video games around it just makes it more complicated. In a weird way, I guess that's a good trait of all the Star Wars and Star Trek games, is that the video games really never have anything to do with the main canon. Or if they do have something to do with the main canon, they're still pretty easy to ignore.
Job's done.
That being said, I probably would never play a Star Wars or Star Trek game if I had never seen Star Wars or Star Trek. And I'm not even a fan of Star Wars, but I am somewhat a fan of Star Trek, or at least I was a fan of the Next Generation in the original series somewhat.
Job's done.
Moving on, we have a game on Steam called Dark Trail. This is a jumping game with flails flying around. So it's like a Super Meat Boy style wall jumping game. It doesn't look very interesting. It's 69 cents discounted right now. So yeah, that's not gonna make it to the list.
Job's done. Let the pain speak.
Next we have a troll game, I would assume. This is a NEET simulator is the name. NEET being the Japanese term for not in education, employment, or training, or not employed in education or training. It's a
what to do? What to
pejorative insult for people who are doing nothing with their lives. And you can see here it's just anime figurines and super obese people. $1.99 this game is. I would not suggest buying it. It's probably not fun. Just take it from that perspective. It's almost certainly not fun. Should have drawn cards.
out on me.
Let's see.
How long can this go on? How long can this go on?
Why do I have this guy's Twitter feed up? This guy tweets way too much. I don't think I'm gonna find the article.
Job's done.
Okay, so there's this guy called Brandon Sheffield on Twitter, and he got retweeted. He posted on January 4th, although he posts a lot, that Steam needs to do something about review bombing. Here's the game Chuchel, which changed the color of its characters from black to orange on December 23rd. That's when you start seeing people reviews from people who played less than an hour, bought
Well
just
played.
to complain / harass the developers, call them snowflakes, etc.
I wonder.
So the character was changed from black to orange according to this guy. I don't know if any of this is true. And allegedly that's why everybody's upset. And review bombing. On the face of it, if you change a character in the game, you shouldn't do that. First of all, you should lock in your character models early in development, or at least halfway through development. The only reason I could see here that anybody would be upset for you changing the color of a character is because there was some feeling somewhere or some accusation somewhere that a black character was offensive and it was like a black face character. I'm wondering if that might be the case, and thus they changed it to orange. And thus people are saying, no, you were being too sensitive and you shouldn't have kowtowed to the hypersensitive, ridiculous SJWs out there. That's the only thing I could think. But I guess I could just look at the reviews myself. Let's be a journalist and actually look here. Chuchel is mixed in the last 30 days at 53%. I don't think that's a insignificant amount of people at that point. So I don't think this is just a straight controversy. I think that this is a dislike of the change of the art style. You can see here, it's 311 reviews in the last 30 days. And it does kind of seem like they changed this, and it does seem like this is worse for wear because they changed the main character. This whole game sold itself and people loved it because of the fact that the character was very relatable and liked. If you change how the character is, you've changed their favorite things. You've ruined their childhood, to use it.
What to do?
Let's read this whole article here while we play this. Let's see, December 21st, there's an article called Why We Are Changing Chuchel's Appearance. It goes, You may have been taken by surprise by today's update for Chuchel. So they didn't tell anybody they were doing this to let them get used to it. Alright, that's a problem right there. It comes with a fair amount of minor bug fixes and tweaks that you may never have even noticed, but there's one thing you surely can't miss. This is your new Chuchel, and it shows the orange version. In reaction to a number of requests we've seen coming from players throughout the year, we ultimately decided to swap Chuchel's colors and change his body color from black to orange. Alright, so Chuchel, when he was black, didn't really look like a black African-American insult caricature. I've looked at this game when it first came out. That never occurred to me at all.
An incredible discovery.
We have many secrets.
Let's see. Let's see. In reaction to we acknowledge that due to significant differences in culture and history between Central Europe and other regions, we did not consider the possibility of Chuchel, a living dust bunny, being associated with blackface. So that's what they're saying straight up. A theatrical racial stereotype which emerged in the United States in the 19th century. We would like to sincerely apologize to anyone who has been offended by the original appearance of Chuchel as a team of peace-minded, creative people. We simply do not want any of our games or characters even remotely associated with racism or any other form of hate crime. In order to avoid any further misinterpretation, Chuchel's appearance has been updated here on Steam and will be changed on all platforms in the upcoming days and weeks. Thank you for your understanding and ongoing support. Amanita Design. Okay, so that's the reason. That's a stupid reason. I could see why people are review bombing it. That's really, really dumb. What can I say otherwise? It's just like a really, really dumb reason to change your appearance. Looks like they changed all the achievements too. Looks like they changed all the art everywhere. Let's see. Let's see. A lot of these negative reviews do look like they are pretty much troll responses, but I think there's real sentimentality in here too. Like, I don't think your review stays up if you buy a game and then refund it. I don't think Steam works that way. Maybe it does, but
Jaina versus Thrall
For Doomhammer.
You asked for it.
let's see. So that is 100% the reason. And regardless of this specific instance, it's always the same issue though. If you believe in freedom of speech, reviews are a big form of freedom of speech. The idea that so many game developers want Steam to stop people from saying negative things or reviewing the games negatively because they feel the reason that the game is being reviewed negatively isn't a legitimate reason doesn't really matter. Like, freedom of speech is not freedom of speech for people who have legitimate reasons, and there's no reason to even argue whether a reason is legitimate or not from that, starting from that perspective. So
Someday I'll be just like you.
yeah, I agree with these people that are negatively reviewing the game and expressing their opinion. If there's somebody in the reviews that are positively reviewing the game, we don't see a lot of review anti-bombings happening, because the truth of the matter is, if people like the games, they're usually still not going to defend whatever stupid thing people have done. Honestly, I don't think there's been more than 3 or 4 games that have been review bombed in the past year anyways. And every time it's happened, it seems like at least a decent reason. So yeah, Chuchel. In the end, I'd still buy this game. I'd still play it. It's now potentially slightly more historically important. It's just kind of so ridiculous. This was a kid's game. This was a little point-and-click puzzle kids game with no dialogue and no talk. All the other characters look weird and wild. There was no reason to change his appearance.
Incredible discovery.
And it's kind of like the instances when they ask comedians to apologize. If you apologize, if you kowtow even once to people who demand that kind of special treatment, you'll be doing it for the rest of your life.
Arena's full.
This really feels a lot like if they changed the color of Kermit the Frog because somebody was offended by the color green.
And the world trembles.
You win this one.
So yeah, that's some stupidness. We could go back to Brandon Sheffield's Twitter. He is the Necrosoft Games directors, and he's also writing Indivisible RPG. He wrote Street Fighter 30th edition, SNK 40th, and he sometimes helps Gamma Sutra GDCs, according to his Twitter feed. I am not super surprised that he would hate review bombing, considering Street Fighter 30th edition I think probably got review bombed for also doing something fishy and bad. Let's see how many Death Rattle cards I have before I go and play some more. In fact, there was so much negative backlash in the Street Fighter case of putting ads on costumes that they had to undo that very quickly. It really is really ridiculous. I don't want to get into an entire rant about this, but imagine if you go down this line of thinking, the entire color of black is going to be taken away from artists. Nothing can be black. Batman's suit will have to be in blue or gray going forward because it looks too much like blackface if this line of thinking goes on. Well, the Venom suit would have to be a different color for the same reason. Just every Starry Night that's painted by a famous painter will have to be repainted so it's some other color. It's really, really ridiculous. Like, paper will no longer be sold if it has too much black ink in it. Newspapers will have to be in red or blue ink going forward because the letters are too offensive. It really would never stop. And that's the problem. It's always the slippery slope argument, and it's always, oh no, this isn't just a facetious argument being made about a slippery slope. This is literally, they are currently actively slipping and sliding down that slope. Alright. Well, I don't have very many Death Rattle cards, so we'll just build a Death Rattle deck. Alright, convert to wild. And change to a Death Rattle. Hop back in here. We're about 10 minutes over, but that's kind of alright. So that's the minor controversy that happened over the weekend that probably hasn't happened. The major controversy is the story here from GameIndustry.biz. Overwatch Contenders, which I guess Overwatch Contenders is the up-and-coming contenders, new people coming to Overwatch and potentially going to be the next big thing. had a team that theoretically they were, from what I'm hearing, they were vetting, but had not yet allowed on their team this player who was going by the name of Ella and not releasing like her full name or identity, and everybody else, from what I hear in Overwatch Contenders, was following a strict kind of full name policy, or maybe not a strict full name policy, but everybody else was using their full names. This team, Second Wind, they, quote, unfortunately overlooked crucial information when vetting this alleged first female North American Overwatch Contenders player, who was, from what I'm hearing right now, not a new player, and B, not a female. Instead, it was from what I'm hearing, a already well-known contender named Punisher, who also has not been able to get a break in the contenders, whereas Ellie was getting a break, probably because of some favoritism, because everybody thought she was a female. There was a lot of articles out there that were written by the likes of Polygon and Kotaku praising Ellie just because she was a female. So I mean, there's two kinds of sexism in the world. There's positive sexism, and then there's negative sexism. People usually only remember that there's negative sexism, but if you're giving favoritism to somebody just because they're a female, somebody wants to play me. So I'll say sure, next game. We might as well, we got time. Like, if you're just being positively if you're just being positive because of somebody's gender, that is as bad as being negative. The whole point here of the idea of egalitarianism and treating everybody the same, or getting to actually know people, is to actually know the people. Let's see. So, Ellie, according to GameIndustry.biz, Ellie was added to Second Wind's roster as a substitute in late December after several other players for various reasons. So she was, apparently, according to this, actually a substitute player on the roster. Almost immediately, the player was harassed with accusations that they were not actually a female pro player, and that they either did not have the experience they said they did, or that a male pro player was posing as them instead. And that's exactly the case of what was happening. Now, the reasoning for this, like, Punisher is claiming it was a social experiment, but I think the truth of it is, he was what they're calling smurfing, a phrase I haven't heard. He was playing like he was a newer character, a newer player, so he would get more accolades by being so good as a new character, and thus he'd get more coverage and get more hype on himself. Now, the stories diverge between whether you're, I'd hate to use the Gamergate phrase, but whether you're a regular gamer, or whether you're a video game journalist here. Like, the video game journalist says they were being harassed. A regular gamer would probably phrase it more as there probably was some small amount of harassment, as there always is on the internet, but in reality, they were probably just being questioned. Like, if there was hype about Ellie, and there seems like there was, people would be interested. People would want to know where she came from. How did she get so good? Those are basic things that make a lot of sense. Anybody would want to ask those questions of any player. It's only harassment in a game journalist's mind because they see everything as harassment.
Prove your worth.
Let's see. Screenshots posted to Ellie's Twitter account of a Discord conversation showing another competitive Overwatch player. Haunt threatening to dox them while egged on by others. Apparently that happened. Let's see. And so Ellie, quote unquote, Ellie said she was departing the team due to the harassment that they faced, which probably means that they knew they were about to get caught. Following their departure, other Overwatch players continue to claim Ellie was not who they said they were, but was actually one or multiple other pro male players at the controls while a young woman played the face and voice of Ellie. The rumors turned out largely to be true, with Second Wind and Overwatch League both coming forward officially yesterday and today to say Ellie was actually a different veteran player hiding their identity. The player behind Ellie has not been confirmed, though some players and figures connect to the team have posited that it may be the North American ladder player known as Punisher. Sorry. Punisher proposed playing the persona of Ellie as a social experiment. Similar phrasing was used by Overwatch streamer Aspen during the Twitch stream yesterday, also crediting Punisher. So yeah, this is, in a weird way, well, it probably wasn't a social experiment. Let's face it, Ellie and Punisher were up to no good. Both the male pro player Punisher and the female who was pretending to be Ellie were up to no good, and they were doing shenanigans, and they were doing something that they shouldn't have been doing. But it did certainly expose the fact that you've probably heard it and you've probably figured it out by now. Mainstream video game journalism sucks. They don't do any vetting. They don't do any research. They just look to push their same narrative over and over and over again, that all video game players are toxic and that they all hate women, and this is just another example of that. And also, while they're at it, they'll push the narrative that women are just naturally better at everything while they can. Which again is just sexism. It is all it is. It's straight. If you're just better because of your sex, that's sexism. That's all that is. You're gonna send me a challenge? There we go. A wild death rattle game. And so, the fact of ignoring what Ellie did for a second and what Punisher did. The fact that any video game journalist site that thinks it's respectable did not do the research to know who the person is that they're talking about is completely disgraceful and disqualifying for you to be a journalist anywhere in any field.
Hello.
Like, you cannot write articles about people who are going under an alias who you've not met, who you've not confirmed, who you have no information about at all. And I guess in a lot of ways that's the same with PewDiePie and all the articles people write about PewDiePie. It's like, they don't interview him, they don't talk to him, they don't watches videos. They don't know anything about him, but they'll write these horrible articles accusing him of everything just for the clickbaits. Alright. Moving on, because I want to kind of work towards wrapping this up, and we probably will just have a single recording today. There is a Russian game on Steam. I can't show it to you, and I don't know what it is. It's tagged with sexual content. It's low effort asset flips of anime girls shooting guns on the beach at each other. It's discounted for 59 cents, and it says it's English only, but it's Russian. So yeah, nothing I can show nor say about that game really. Moving on.
Your worth, cur.
This. And that. Let's see. I don't want to talk about that article. That's just a review of like a low effort game.
Your mother was a
Next we have a game on Steam called Unknown, which looks like it's like a RPG Maker style game. Although it's not quite to that level. So I'll give it a chance. $6.99 is too expensive for what I'm seeing here. But maybe there is something in this game that... probably not. It probably is just another horror RPG Maker game.
Thank you.
Let's see.
Stand down.
I'll put Unknown on the follow list. I'll be really generous with it. Next we have a game on Steam called Soul Room, which again, it's some kind of RPG game. Looks like it's a low effort Chinese game. Yep. I don't know what the actual gameplay even is. Looks like it's maybe a puzzle game or something. Looks like a cell phone game, or the attempt at a cell phone game at least. There we go. Next we have a game on Steam called Moon River that
Truth is my shield.
doesn't look like much, but it might be something. How does this play? I'm seeing this crack, lights, and I just see lights. That's all I see.
Mind if I roll knee?
Okay. This. And this one. Seems like the lights are places where you might be able to jump upward. No, I'm looked at most of this video, and there's not enough variety there. So Moon River is $3.99. It just same pillars of light, same small paths. They've got nothing to show. Right. We do
Hey, give me that.
that one. And that one. And that. Next we have a game on Steam called Big Dipper, which is a visual novel. Looks like a Western visual novel. Not a terrible animation style there. Somebody shooting a gun at you. Is this fully voiced? No. It's an English and Russian game. I don't know if I really want to trust an English and Russian visual novel.
Truth is my shield.
But I'll put it on the follow list. I guess I'll see. Suppose it is at some point somebody is gonna try to throw the accusation at me that I claim about being egalitarian all the time or trying to be, but then I actively hold disgust for the average Chinese or Russian game.
This jungle
My response to that is I've seen a lot of Chinese and Russian games. I want them to be good. There are good games from people who develop games in China and Russia. It's just there's so many people in those countries, and the quality control is so low that a lot of bad games do come out from those regions. On the other hand, Tetris came out of Russia, so that's one of the best games ever. There are, I could probably think of I could probably look up a few great Chinese games too. Moving on though from that figurative conversation, here's another English-Russian game. Let's see. We have a game called, let's see, let's just flip through all of these and see if we're cool.
Here there is no light.
That and that. Gotcha. So we have this game called Zelaria Sanctuary. Tag nudity and sexual content. Rated mostly positive. It doesn't look amazingly great. It says it's an adventure game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's more of a visual novel. It's $8.99, again English and Russian. I think I'll put it on the follow list. It's already mostly positive, so I think it deserves a chance. I bet when more people get into it though, the reviews go down. And I can't show you this next game because there's blurred out boobs, and my fear is that the blurred out boobs will actually still trigger something on YouTube's algorithm. There's a game on Steam called Vixens from Outer Space. It kind of looks like Escape from Castle Wolfenstein in modern times with Nazi women. And well, it seems the video I'm seeing is just shooting these moth-like creatures. Let's see. I've lost. That's fine. Well, I don't think I could ever play Vixens in Space. It's an early access game for $7.99. I'll put it on the follow list though, you know? If people actually play this and actually like it, that would be cool. But in all actuality, I think the truth is that this is more likely to be a game that shows up on a Jim Sterling video than he wants one more. Not bad for a noob. I jumped into a game though too quick.
Gul'dan versus
Alright.
Lunara.
Moving on, Gamatsu has an article.
Your soul shall be mine.
It's Borderlands Game of the Year edition has been rated for PS4 and Xbox One in Taiwan. That is surprising. This unannounced Game of the Year edition resurfaces after 7 months.
Nature's blessings upon you.
I really didn't think that they would do a Game of the Year edition of Borderlands 1. Instead, they seem to be kind of focused on the Handsome Jack collection, which is Borderlands 2 and the Borderlands the pre-sequel. Although, theoretically, I think they retconned Handsome Jack to be part of the story of Borderlands 1 also. The original Borderlands was released for PS3, Xbox 360, and PC in October of 2009, so you're talking 10 years ago. Let's see. Again, I doubt I could ever find the time to go back and play Borderlands 1 again for a third time, but I would like a patch and an update. Of course, Bulletstorm got a remastered edition and there was no update, so if this does come out on PC, I wouldn't be surprised if you have to buy it a second time and no update for people who own the game already. And that would be a deal breaker for me, I think. I don't have time. I haven't played the pre-sequel at all. Theoretically, Borderlands 3 should be out this year, although if they're releasing a remastered version of 1, that might not be the case. So yeah, who knows? Who knows what's going on at Gearbox? Moving on, we have a game on Steam called The Devil Haunts Me, which looks like a pixel graphics, surreal, survival horror is the tag. Yeah, I don't want to play a survival horror game. And I don't want to play a pixel graphics game. It's free, so I guess that's a decent price, but I'm not sold on it. Keep on playing. Next, we have a game on Steam called Cube Defender, which is just a low-effort tower defense game for $2.69. We don't really need to go any further with that game, so that's getting taken off the list. Devolver Digital as kind of a self-promotion thing. Somebody, allegedly a real customer and not just a plant, asked them if they would put Shadow Warrior 2 on sale, and they put it on sale, which then got them a lot of coverage, of course, but not really deserving it. Like, that's probably viral marketing, 100%. Gematsu has an article, Catherine full body special announcement set for January 10th. So this announcement hopefully will clear up whether the PC version that is pretty obviously coming out for Catherine includes and is the same as the full body version, or if these are two separate products and maybe there's some exclusive content that is coming out only for the PS4 and the Vita on February 14th, at least in Japan. That is, I guess, the question that I'd like to see settled. Is this a translation issue, or are there literally two versions coming?
I can't well believe
I guess I could break the streak right now if I wanted to and switch over to the Asian account. Like, I really don't need to do this, but we'll stick with where we are. We have another game on Steam called Dispointibus, which is some kind of puzzle game where you maneuver these lines in different ways to get from point A to point B.
Gul'dan versus Anduin.
If there was more game here,
Light shall bring victory.
I might consider playing something like this, but you can kind of tell that there's nothing really here that's really short and simple. $4.99 with no discount. Yeah. It seems like each of the items have to be touching something else at all times, or they sink into the water. So there's these little puzzles that connect different platforms. It kind of almost feels like The Witness, but not as well done, certainly.
Do I have to?
We already talked about that article. There's a game on Steam called Magnesia, which is a free-to-play early access game that I don't think it's gonna go anywhere. It says it's a puzzle game, but
So many
honestly, I don't think you're gonna have too many puzzles if it's free to play. Like, I'd love for this to be good, and I'm gonna put it on the fall list just out of blind hope, but yeah, seriously speaking, it's not likely it's good. GameIndustry.biz has this article that I already mentioned. Nintendo could, quote, shift away from home consoles, end quote, says company president. Shuntaro Furukawa discusses the, quote, innovation dilemma. Like, if they shifted away from consoles, it should be the PCs, but that's not what I think they're talking about. They're talking about mobile. And see, that would make sense from a Japanese perspective, that like mobile games are everything that's important, because cell phones are pretty much becoming the only kind of computers in Japan. PCs were never super popular, but PCs are also, PC gaming is growing a little bit, so it's a little bit of both. But like I said, it would be very devastating if there was never another Mario game, except for Mario cell phone games like Mario Run, which was not a good game. Or if there was never another Pokemon game except for Pokemon Go. That would suck. Moving on, Gematsu has an article, Dead or Alive Extreme 3, Scarlet adds the character Li Fang. I just wanted to mention that to point out that Dead or Alive Extreme 3 is still in development and coming out, at least in Japan, for the PS4 and Switch. I don't think it actually is coming out to the West. Like, Dead or Alive Extreme is the volleyball game that's not so focused on volleyball anymore, so they dropped the Extreme Beach Volleyball part of it.
Mushroom power!
Die, mage.
Moving on, Gamasutra has a blog, Video Game Deep Cuts. Welcome to 2019 already. Let's see if there's anything here. This is just a collection of their other articles that don't matter. Okay, so that's not an article worth talking about. So there's an interesting continuation of the thought of Nintendo potentially embracing PC. GameIndustry.biz has this article. The Humble Store is now selling 3DS and Nintendo Switch games. Digital codes for over 40 titles are now available through the Humble Store in the US only. I wouldn't be surprised if Sega had something to do with that in particular, since Sega's had games on the Humble Store. So that's an interesting twist. And you really wouldn't have expected that to ever happen. How do we want to do this?
Nice to meet you.
Draw another card. Yeah, moving on. One of the Korean game makers is trying to sell his entire company. I don't know if I have an article about it, but like he doesn't like the volatility of video games. So he said, so he's trying to sell his entire business. Probably won't affect Westerners too much, honestly. But it's an interesting twist. Let's see. Gamatsu has an article, the Japanese trademarks for Final Fantasy digital card game from Square Enix and NES titles from Bandai Namco. So apparently a Final Fantasy trading card game might be going digital. And Bandai Namco trademarked Battle City, Warp Man, Final Lap, Family Pinball, and a game that translates to English as Dragon Spirit the New Legend. None of those games sound particularly groundbreaking in their names.
Really necessary?
Next we have a game on Steam called Trailer Park Mechanic, which it looks pretty, but it really is just an asset flip game. You know it is. Trailer Park Mechanic. Interesting. Is that a real career? I doubt it. Early access $19.99. Really high price too. Like, we haven't seen any way overpriced games for 2019. Except for that one, I guess. That's the first one of the year. Next we have a game called Meadow Fun, which looks like you're just running around catching butterflies. It's discounted to $6.29. Doesn't look very polished or intriguing. If there was more polish to this, I might be willing to run around a meadow and catch butterflies. There is a game I bought that is basically just running around collecting flowers that I want to play at some point, but it's gotta be better. There we go. This is one of those articles that the title will grab you if you're interested, but I'm not even going to read it. It's GameIndustry.biz has an article, Everyday Bisexuality in Video Games. Subtitle is Fragments of Him, developer Mata Haggis Burridge. Haggis-Burridge. On why non-hetero characters should be defined by more than sex. In the way that is being described, and this is one of those articles that I'm not going to bother to read, because I don't think it's a big issue that needs to be even investigated or talked about in video games. I don't know how many bisexual characters are in video games where that's a big part of their characters. Like,
Hold on to your mug.
because the thing is, you would, if it's more about than their sexuality, they would have to be polyamorous at that point. They would have to have both a girlfriend and a boyfriend at the same time, and then they'd have to have some kind of interaction and characterization through those interactions in the story. If somebody is just bisexual and then you don't do anything with it, well, that usually is just they're bisexual because it makes it easier for the player, to put their self into the character and date girls if they want to date girls, or date guys if they want to date guys. But the way this title is phrased, on why non-hetero characters should be defined more than sex, you literally define them by their sex. It's a catch-22. It's it would also could be phrased on why this special class that should be treated better or differently than everybody else because they're non-heterosexual should be treated better or different than everyone else. It's circular logic. Anyways, I don't want to get into another rant. All this identity politics. Well, 2019 is going to be a lot like 2018 at this rate, it seems.
Your peace.
Let's see. We've got to draw a card, I think.
Face the light.
I think that's the right move. Next, we have a game on Steam called A Second Chance, which looks like
The
it's
sun
a
has set for me.
tower defense RPG something or other. The graphics don't look good, whatever it is. Early access, $5.99, no discount. That's not making it to the list. Right. Are we ready to do this?
In the light's name.
Someone call for the doctor.
We have a lot of bad games that came out this week. Next bad game is called Ship Fight. It looks like MS Paint graphics with a solid blue background. That is just awful. $4.99. Ridiculous. Alright.
How long can this go on? How long can this go on?
Let's see, next we have a Chinese or Japanese game. I would say Japanese because of this walk alone. Called Jasmine Summer. It looks like some really nice still animations. Here, it's probably a visual novel. Let's see. I don't think English language is supported. Some really nice backgrounds there. Early access, $5.59. It's Chinese. Interesting. Simplified Chinese. It sure looks like a Japanese story, but okay. I won't argue. Play that. Well, of course, it's not making it to the default list if it doesn't support English. Gamatsu has this article, Bayonetta Steam page seemingly teases Catherine Classic Update 5. So, several pages of
we must cleanse the Sunwell.
The company, I think, that published Catherine, I guess, but that doesn't really make sense because Bayonetta was Platinum Games, self-published, I thought, and Catherine, I thought, was Atlas, so there seems to be some people working together in the Japanese game developers, and they're putting out these pictures of sheep and with images.
We must
and
cleanse
so,
the Sunwell.
So yeah, that a PC version of Catherine is almost certainly coming out, and they've published a lot of sheep pictures. Let's see, Yakuza 0 had a sheep picture, Shenmue 1 and 2 had a sheep picture, Puyo Puyo Tetris has a sheep picture, and apparently
So many
there's
possibilities.
something even more to it that Reset Era allegedly figured out. Probably Reset Era was told it if I was to negatively guess. I have no evidence to that fact. Let's see. Each image reveals a unique. If you upload each image, it reveals a unique Steam key hidden within each image. Each Steam key activates a different word. The deciphered images also revealed today's image is the 5th of 8, meaning that there are 3 more images coming. The following Steam keys were uncovered, and they unlock the phrase "get ready for something sexy," and I guess I'm gonna try and activate these codes, but it doesn't look like they're codes for games, so they must unlock some kind of item or something. I don't even know what else you can unlock on Steam with that, but apparently you can unlock something. So just for the reasons of wanting to get the items, that's a good idea, but then there's also the possibility if you unlock all these codes, maybe then that will give you a discount or the game for free. Moving on, Gamatsu has an article, Koei Tecmo trademarks Yaiba, Y-A-I-B-A Ninja Gaiden Z. So there's apparently Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z is a zombie-themed spin-off of the Ninja Gaiden concept. It was released for the PS3, Xbox 360, and PC in 2014. So looks like it might be coming back or getting a new release or remaster or something. So that would be cool. Next we have a game on Steam called Donkey Pong. Donkey Pong. It looks like it's just a bouncing around, avoiding death game. Looks too simplistic again. And looks very much like a Super Meat Boy style game. Or a rage game. $6.99, no discount. That's not making it to the list.
Unleash me.
Why do you fall?
Here we go. Gamatsu has an article, Alien Blackout has been announced for smartphones from Fox Next Games, D3 Go, and Rival Games. This apparently is the next game in the Alien series, so theoretically this is the sequel to Alien Isolation. but I don't think you really should take it that way, honestly. That they're in the process of developing a new Alien movie, so this mobile game is just cross promotion for that, and it's not going to be that good or that important. We all know that. So, of course, there's always reason to be disappointed that they don't make a good Alien game, but what can you do? Really? What can you say? What can you do? Fox is being purchased by Disney, so the question will then boil down to, will Disney have good games based on their properties? And maybe they will, maybe they won't. Maybe we'll see EA make a microtransaction-laden Alien game like Battlefront, or maybe we'll see them license it to a good company.
Shall bring victory.
Only time will
Shall
tell.
be mine.
Next we have a game on Steam called Fire-Based Defense, which just looks like an ugly like tank game. That's pretty much all you can call it. $3.59 discounted. Let's see. Gamma Citra has an article. Get a job. Join Crystal Dynamics team as a camera designer. That job is in Redwood City, California. The fact that Crystal Dynamics is still listing jobs is somewhat reassuring, because you know, it could have been shut down by now after the release of Tomb Raider 3. Next we have a game on Steam called PsyOps Solutions, which looks like an RPG Maker game. It looks pretty boring. Yeah. A slightly different art style than you normally get, but still pretty boring looking. Claims to be a JRPG, is in English only. So yeah, that's not making it to the list. Let's do this.
In the light's name.
Why do you call?
Let's see. After you cast a spell, deal 1 damage.
Let me at him.
In return. Gamma Sutra has the same article we've been mentioning. ESRB rates Catherine for the PC. More evidence supporting a PC release. Like, we don't really know, though, where this is coming from. Though we still don't know if that's the same as Catherine Full Body. I'm still very confused about that. I'll have to wait till the announcement. Okay. There's nothing more that needs to be done, so we do this. And we'll play this.
It's playtime.
Taste the light.
Gamma Citra has an article. Second Dinner grabs a Marvel partnership and $30 million for an inaugural game. Second Dinner, the studio set up by 2 Hearthstone devs, former game director Ben Brode and former executive producer Hamilton Chu. I didn't know about Hamilton Chu. They've gotten $30 million investment from NetEase, which is the second most well-known Chinese developer, I believe, under Tencent. Actually, Tencent might own parts of NetEase. The article goes on, while Second Dinner aims to remain a small studio, the 5-man team is looking to use the investment to hire additional developers for its recently set up Irvine, California office. Brode Chu and his fellow co-founders and ex-Blizzard devs, Mike Schweitzer, Yang Liu, Jormo Kindred, set up Second Dinner last June after leaving Blizzard 2 in Brode's Awards, take a crazy risk and get back to hands-on game development. Interesting. Man, I am not playing very many Warlock cards. And with that, I'm on the Humble Bundle store. And let's see if there is any Humble Bundle worth mentioning right now. No new Humble Bundles. And I don't know if I should even be promoting Humble Bundles. And so I'm going back to my Twitter feed. And then this will be the last game at 2 hours in the stream again. So I didn't break it up. I should have broken it up, but I didn't. So I'm just going to scroll down my Twitter feed and see if there's anything here.
I'll get right on it.
CES, like I said, is happening right now. 19 minutes ago, Borderlands 2 Game of the Year episode 73 aired on my channel. I scheduled a couple of videos that I should have scheduled a lot earlier to air this week at 2:15. So there's just going to be some extra content.
Mind if I roll need?
Is there some other things to talk about? I feel like there were some other things to talk about. I guess it's slightly good news that nothing on Steam has been vocally complained about not being allowed on their storefront, but honestly I still think it's not been addressed. I think Steam is still trying to just let this die as a story. And we're still very much not seeing any Japanese games with anybody in a outfit, high school uniform or college uniform or anything that looks like a schoolgirl outfit, quite frankly. In fact, the guys' uniforms would look just like suits, so they probably don't care about that at all. And see, if I had to stretch this out, I don't think I really have too much to say. Gearbox Official 2 hours ago had 2 streamers streaming on Twitch playing not Hearthstone, Borderlands 2, which is interesting, I suppose, but not particularly informative.
In the light's name.
There's a game called Scroll to Read. We'll probably not cover that. Gamma Sutra has an article. Valve dished out a record 600,000 VAC bans after CSGO went free to play. Interesting, but again, probably not super surprising.
Someone call for the doctor.
Let's see. Scrolling down. Scrolling down Twitter, not seeing anything. Got a charge. We can play that. Yeah, there's like no news. Not super surprising, though. Like, it's Monday. Nothing happened on the weekend. Surprise, surprise.
Mushroom power! Free me!
Drawing cards. Make sure we play the Warlock cards. See, God War shipments and digital sales top 200,000 according to Nikamatsu. God Wars, not God of War. Which God Wars looks like it's a tactical placement RPG. Yeah, unless I scroll down my Twitter feed and ran into some new news, which I'm not even sure would happen this time. I think we are done. I need to play some more Warlock class cards, I guess. Theoretically, I should actually play 3 Druid or Rogue cards, but I don't think I'll spend that effort to do that. That's too much work. So, that's going to be it for this stream. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me, there's also a link to Patreon. Or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist, or a gift card, or whatever game you'd like to see me play. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.